Hi guys, I'm back with a new video. In today's video, we'll talk about Hydra, which is really shaking Hyderabad. If you open newspaper, TV channels, YouTube, everywhere you hear about Hydra. I'm sure you know about Hydra, but my thought about Hydra and the action it is taking, how it is impacting the end user is what I thought I'll record in this today's video. Right? So now if you see here, Hydra is led by IPS officer Mr. A.V. Ranganath, and they have reclaimed almost 100 acres of government land and cleared illegal structures from around 20 city points, and all of this is being done in less than 1 month time, which is actually great. And the reason why they're doing this is to claim the lakes which were lost. So almost 60%, 61% of Hyderabad lake area shrunk in 44 years, which means only 40% of lake area is only left. Few lakes totally got vanished. And this action of Hydra is to reclaim lakes, because in rainy season, you see how Hyderabad becomes. And all of this definitely impact is because of the lake, the houses in the lake bed and FTL limits. All of this eventually leads to flooding in rainy season. And they're trying to do something good, which is actually welcoming. People are welcoming it. People are happy. Some people are happy, some people are scared because many people are losing their houses. The point of view here is Hydra is taking action, that's completely fine. It's justified. But is a real question here. Let me take a scenario here. For example, recently in Nizampet, Pragati Nagar area, if you see a destruction of 3 buildings happened. If you see the chain of events from top to bottom, let's go back 15-20 years back. 15-20 years back, it was a lake. And using a political help or a political support, some real estate person occupied that lake by putting muddy in it, soil in it. They created a survey number which didn't exist, and all of it cannot happen without government support. Yes. So there was a government officer involved in the process. So political power was involved, a government officer was involved. Using this power, a real estate person created a land, a survey number which never existed. And assuming a X person, let's call Venkat, bought that land or that plot of around 500 square yards in that occupied land, in a survey number, legally registered document in the SRO or in MRO office. So he has a land. Now that land he was able to sell, which means every time the transaction could happen. In the last 15 years, I'm assuming average 3 to 4 times that plot would have been sold. Which means the plot has a history of around 15-20 years. Okay, just imagine the plot has history of 15-20 years. And a builder eventually in 2022 or 23 would have bought that plot, and he would have applied for all the permissions legally, HMDA permission, municipal permission. He would have applied for electricity permission, water permission, and he would have applied for RERA. He paid all the taxes to the government, eventually got all the permission, and based on these permissions only, he constructed 5-floor building. And seeing all this permission, so here is the builder at fault is a question. So if he's a good builder, he has real estate knowledge, definitely if he drags down to the past, he would come to know that 20 years back, this was just a lake. He may or may not know, 50% chances. So now it depends what kind of real estate person he is or what kind of experience he has, or is he taken a legal opinion. Now let's take 50-50. He has done it knowingly or unknowingly. That's not our concern now. But he got all the permissions. He has built a structure. It was ready to occupy, and bank loans were given, and a person like you and me, the end user like you and me, seeing all this permission, HMD unda, undi RERA unda, undi loan ostunda ostundi, ante safe. Akkada lake undani vaaniki telusu. He may be from different city altogether. He may be from Andhra Pradesh, or he may be from North India, or maybe from different state altogether. He doesn't know anything. Seeing all these approvals, he bought an apartment by paying 60-70 lakh rupees, paying some down payment, taking a loan. And one fine day, suddenly without a notice, Hydra comes and destroys the whole complex. Now who is suffering? The end user is suffering. Okay, if you see in this Balika Bakara Hunter, okay, scapegoat. Now eventually that person who has bought an apartment with all the permissions, by paying government fees, even he has paid stamp duty to register his plot or apartment, isn't it? Builder has paid stamp duty to get the permissions. So with all the permissions, by paying all the stamp duties to the government, legally, now if you see here, was there any fault of that end user in occupying that lake? If you see here, he has no fault. He has not done any mistake. he's just become the scapegoat in the whole process. He has lost his hard-earned money, and just imagine he couldn't sleep. He definitely won't be able to sleep night because he's always scared, how would I pay that bank loan, or what is the consequence of it. Definitely he'll be worried and scared. He bought a house and he lost that house. Now who is responsible for him? That's question number 1. Okay. Now question number 2 is, are the victims really getting punished? Because who is that person who first created that land which never existed? Create that survey number, catch that person, catch that officer who has given permissions to it, catch that politician who made sure that all this happens. It all started there. But instead of punishing them, or instead of, I'm not sure if they are getting punished, but that's where the source is. But someone else is becoming a scapegoat in this whole process. Now the point here is, already there are lakhs of people living in this FTL occupied houses. A lot of colonies exist, a lot of plots exist, a lot of buildings exist, apartments exist. Now everyone is scared, what if my home is destroyed? And that really happens, what will happen to them? That's a big question. Okay, and by doing it, can you really reclaim that lake? Because there are a lot of big buildings, big builders existing there. I'm sure that's not going to happen. But I am assuming is Hydra is doing this to set a tone that, okay, if there is a legal structure under construction, will break it so that you are scared to build that structure again. I understand that's a good thing to do. But what about these end users? What's their mistake is the question. Now, what is in it for us? What can we do? Okay. If you are planning to buy an apartment of any builder, it can be a small builder, big builder, doesn't matter, because there are very big builders. Okay, I won't take names here. Okay, big brands. They have built apartments literally in the lake bed. Big builders, already famous builders. So it has nothing to do with brand. Okay, because they got legal permissions, they have built it and people have bought it. And still they are at risk now. Now what you should do as an end buyer, that's the question. As an end buyer, before buying an apartment, it is very tough, I understand, but you have to check that village map and check if there are any kuntas or lakes or ponds existing there 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years back. You would check for that village map. If you find it tough to check it yourself, and actually it's tough to find on your own, you should definitely hire a lawyer. Pay some money, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, whatever the money is. You are buying an apartment worth crores. So pay money to that lawyer, advocate, a good advocate, okay? Not someone who works just for money. Hire that advocate, take a legal opinion and ask him to check a village map and check for kuntas and lakes. And if you find out that this apartment is in a lake or in a FTL limit, stay away from it, no matter what deal you are getting. Because always and always forever, something like Hydra is now and something else may come up later. And they will end up saying that this is illegal. Right? So that's preventive measure which I feel we all should take. If you are planning to buy an apartment, definitely do that process. Hire a legal, take a legal opinion, hire a good lawyer. That's first thing to do. Second thing is, I feel there should be an NOC given from Hydra. If Hydra is going to become so active in terms of destructing these apartments and buildings, there's two things they should do. Either they should release a list of survey numbers where the lake exists across the whole of Hyderabad, which people can verify or the lawyers can verify. Or second thing is they should open an NOC system. Like we take NOCs from irrigation department, we take it from fire department. Similarly, we should take NOC from Hydra as well. Only if they give clearance, we should get permission for that apartment. So these kind of measures should come up to prevent this kind of actions happening in the future. Whatever happened has happened. For people who have lost their houses, who are suffering, they are suffering. What kind of benefit, what kind of help government will do for them, I don't know. Will they go to court? Will they protest against it? I don't know. What's going to happen is up to them. But people who are thinking of buying an apartment or any kind of plot or a house, I recommend you take a legal opinion. That's the safest thing to do. Check for kuntas and lakes in that village map, and only if you find it safe, you go ahead and buy that apartment or plot, whatever it is. Right? That's the best thing to do. And I recommend, or I wish, that NOC system of Hydra should come into effect very soon. At least a list of survey numbers. I think they already exist. I recently got a link. I'll share the link in the description box where they have mentioned areas and the lakes, and to certain extent survey numbers where this lake exists. Go and check if your house is falling in that lake. If it is falling in that lake, you will have to live with fear, or if there is a system to get an NOC, get that NOC. So that's what I could say about this Hydra action. right? So that's an update, guys. So it's a good thing for a lot of people, but bad thing for some people. But I hope it's a good thing to set a tone that illegal constructions are not tolerated. That's something good which is happening in Hyderabad. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you soon in a new video. Till then, take care.